Here with Wendy Stovall with the USGS, a volcanologist. And Wendy, was this, when you first heard about this, an undersea volcano triggering a tsunami warning, a tsunami advisory on the West Coast, was the eruption and the subsequent tsunami advisory a surprise?
Certainly was. The tsunami advisory was certainly a surprise, but the eruption, not necessarily. This volcano specifically had been erupting since December, so it wasn't a huge surprise that that happened. But this is the first time in my career that I have heard a tsunami warning occurring as a result of a volcanic eruption.
It's the first time in my career, too. I mean, I know there's offshore landslides, and I know there are undersea volcanoes, but the idea of one triggering a tsunami is new to me. So how often would something like this happen, and how often would it be a threat to the West Coast?
Well, fortunately, the volcano itself is relatively shallow, so the amount of water that was likely displaced during the eruption was not a huge amount. It is surprising that it reached the West Coast. The simple physics of it are really unlikely for anything like that to happen. But yes, it did reach the West Coast. The eruption was very powerful. There are reports that it was heard as far as Alaska.
Wow.
There were sensors that picked it up around the world. Not just seismic sensors, but sensors that measure sound that is inaudible to the human ear, infrasound.
So it sent pressure waves in the atmosphere around the globe. That's
right. That's exactly right.
Wow, that is extraordinary. My question next is, if this island-building eruption produced a tsunami that we felt on the West Coast, and this is, now going on 24 hours ago, do we have to monitor this? Could it happen again from the same source?
Yeah, it could certainly happen again from the same source. We've been kind of having background talks about that internally, and the eruption, since it was ongoing since December, and it's getting larger now. There was an eruption just 2 days ago, and then there was another one that occurred yesterday, as you know, the one that created the tsunami. And it's sometimes volcanoes ramp up, and they just are showing that they can produce more powerful eruptions. So it's possible that this could happen again. Fortunately, it's far enough away that tsunami warnings can be issued quickly.
Right. Yeah. If you are, though, in the Kingdom of Tonga, which has pretty much been cut off, their internet service was cut off a few hours after the eruption. For those folks who are nearby, are there real concerns that if the eruptions become more powerful, the 100,000 people living on the island are at terrific risk tonight?
Yeah, that is very true. And we, our associates that are in contact with the Volcano Monitoring Agency in New Zealand that has been working with them say that there's not a whole lot of information out of Tonga currently because of the communications being cut off. But yes, the hazards are real. Certainly ash hazards, and then again, a tsunami hazard if it were to occur again. But they are experiencing ash hazards already.
Right, the ash hazard. Is there anything like with, I guess, sulfur dioxide coming out of this, mixing with the water? Is there an acid rain threat?
Acid rain is totally possible, too. That is something that they would need to be concerned with. There's water catchment systems on the island, so sulfur dioxide contaminates water catchment systems, which is the way that people get fresh water for their household use. So I know that there has been a recommendation to turn off the catchment system so people aren't contaminating the water that they already have.
You're talking about back in Tonga?
In Tonga, yes, in Tonga.
Okay, because we have no idea what's going on the island kingdom of Tonga tonight, but it's safe to say that it's certainly got folks' attention there. Some of their systems may be down, their monitoring equipment may be down. Are we doing anything, the U.S. Geological Survey, to monitor the seismic aspect of what's happening with the volcano to see if an even larger eruption might be imminent?
Well, the USGS specifically isn't doing anything with this eruption in Tonga. There are no ground-based monitoring instruments on the volcano at all. So all that we have to rely on are satellite imagery And then the infrasound, if there was another eruption, it would be detected again all over the world, similar to the way that it just was with the pressure wave. But certainly the Tonga Geological Service is in contact with the GNS in New Zealand, which is the volcano monitoring service there, and they are helping and providing advice and guidance to them. So they are really the ones that are helping them with the volcano monitoring aspect of this.
Okay. If there is another bigger eruption that could send a tsunami that threatens the whole West Coast, it'll happen, the eruption will happen without warning then, it sounds like.
That is right. Yep, exactly.
So we have to just
can't occur without warning.
Monitor it. Okay.
Yeah, we just have to, we'll know when it happens, basically. We won't know before it happens.
Let me just, because I have you there, and this is the favorite interview I've done in a year. When I talk to a volcanologist, it's like, let me do it all night. I can't, but let me just ask you quickly, and again, it's a naive question. Are there undersea volcanoes we have to worry about that are off the immediate West Coast?
There are not really any undersea volcanoes off the West Coast. The one that would impact the United States would be the volcano. There's one off the coast of Hawaii. But there are none off the coast of the United States. There are some off the coast of Canada. So it's possible up there. I can't remember what the name of the volcano is. There is one that's up there, though.
Okay, but nothing that's lying off Half Moon Bay.
No,
not
at all.
Our volcanic threats are on land, and we do have active volcanoes in California on land.
That is correct. Yeah, there are many active volcanoes up and down the whole state of California. The furthest north one is Mount Shasta. The furthest south one is Salton Buttes. And we monitor those. The U.S. Geological Survey does monitor all of those volcanoes. The nearest one to the Bay Area is up where the geysers is at Clear Lake Volcanic Field.
That's an old one.
It's still active, though. Yeah. It's considered a dormant volcano.
Ooh.
We know there's still magma underneath there, and we do monitor it very regularly. And there's a new, there's kind of a reinvigorated study to learn more about the system as well up there.
Volcanoes, earthquakes, wow, tsunamis.
Yep.
We get it all in California.
California has it all.
The greatest volcanic risk, though, from any volcano in California is?
It would be Mount Shasta.
Really? I thought you were going to say Mammoth.
No, Mount Shasta has snow and ice on it all year round. So that would create, if there were an eruption, then it would be not tsunamis, lahars. So kind of mud slurries that come down off the top of the volcano would be a big concern for people that live around there.
And would we get warning if Mount Shasta were to go?
Absolutely. Yeah. The volcano itself is monitored pretty well. And the California Volcano Observatory is responsible for issuing warnings related to all activity of volcanoes in the state of California. And people can get those alerts and notifications sent to their email through our volcano notification service. You can look that up on any web browser that you'd like. And you can subscribe to get any type of update. There are weekly updates that are sent out about all California volcanoes.
Right. In the meantime, regarding the volcanic activity off of Tonga and its potential effect on the West Coast, and the potential for a bigger eruption from that same undersea volcano, it's just a matter of watching and waiting.
That is correct. Yeah, we'll see how it progresses.